what we learned from our grandparents, and it's something that we would like to pass on to you. 18?
Don't make these retirement mistakes.
So, we're Tina and Norm, and we run this channel about retirement, lifestyle, and a little bit of travel. And hopefully we'll be in Portugal over the winter making some videos for our channel. What do we have then, Tin? What would you say is one of the first things you should think about while you're still working, but you're thinking about retirement?
I think you shouldn't lose track of the fact of time that might be running out. And I think that you should find a way to retire as soon as possible.
Partly because we're on limited health. As we age, our bodies wear out. So in your mid-50s to mid-60s, you're going to be the most active, the most healthy, the strongest, no aches and pains, and you're going to enjoy retirement. So if you can afford to save a little bit more, maybe accelerate your savings, cut your expenses before retirement, just so you can pad your bank account up a little bit more. And that'll pay for you retiring early. Or there's an option in Canada and the US with a 401k, and in Canada with your RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. What could you do with those, Tin?
Well, obviously, you could take some of the money that you might need out of these accounts. And I think that people possibly lose sight of the fact that they could do that.
And the thing about it is that could put you into a low income bracket for tax.
Yeah.
So taking a small amount of money out of your retirement savings plan could fund those early years prior to you being able to collect Social Security or the Canadian Pension Plan, CPP. So think about it, eh?
Oh, lots to think about there, hey, Norm?
We have no regrets retiring early.
No.
Our only regret, if there was such a thing, we didn't retire early enough.
And I think that might lead us on to our second big point, Norm, which probably I am the most guilty of or didn't realize. And that was the immense stress that I was working under and didn't realize at the time.
I was about to say the immense stress of being married to me, but...
Oh, life's a breeze being married to you, Norm, but I didn't realize how stressful. I used to go for massages once a month, which I thought was a treat. But was it really a treat? Because it was actually trying to cure an underlying problem of the job.
You're all under stress.
Yeah.
Honestly, the stress of just trying to get to work on time if you're maybe a low-income worker. The stress of having to do the job. The stress of having a boss who's unreasonable. We all experience stress, but the kicker is, until you retire, until you give it up, you have absolutely no idea that you are under stress.
No. It actually takes doing to stop and to realize just how much pressure you were under. And once you do, it's like, wow, why didn't we do this sooner?
And the thing about added stress from your job is it shortens your life. Yeah. It can play havoc with your health, with your heart health.
Yeah.
So if you think that you're frightened of retiring, just try and do it. Retirement's a lot of fun. Get rid of that stress from your job and you'll notice an improvement of the quality of your life.
And I think you'll probably notice too that things like your sleep pattern, you'll probably sleep more because nobody's saying, hey, you've got to set the alarm to be up at 5 or 6. If you want to lie in, you can. It just gives you a whole different chapter in your life, doesn't it?
So following on from job stress, there's another stress out there, Geez, isn't life stressful? Debt-free, or if you're like us, in debt. So one of the things that we are suggesting, and one of the things our grandparents told us, is to get debt-free. It's no use carrying debt in retirement. It's just going to reduce the amount of money that you have. And to be honest with you, we had a house. I think a lot of you have already seen it in previous videos. It was a beautiful bungalow on 2 acres in a nice subdivision. It was everything we'd ever hoped for coming to Canada. But things went wrong on it, Teen, didn't they?
They did, and we had to keep doing repairs. We had to have new driveways. We had to put all new windows in. We even had to put a new roof in, didn't we, Norm?
And a bungalow roof is huge.
Yeah, and we put decks on, and you know, that credit line kept growing and growing. So we really know what being in debt is.
So when we came to sell the house, we were mortgage free.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, ooh, we're going to have all this money, and geez, that's going to be. And then we thought, oh, we have a line of credit on the house that had escalated to about $36,000, and that was purely repairs. It wasn't paying for foreign holidays or vacations. It was primarily the upkeep of our house over a 17-year period, and the credit was just revolving. So we would pay into it every month, just like a mortgage, but then we would draw again because the roof. We sold the house because we realized it was going to be a never-ending story of repairs. So we bit the bullet, didn't we, Teen?
Yeah, and in actual fact, Norm, I think maybe you missed a one off that number when you said you thought it was around 36,000. I think it was 136,000.
I was in denial, Tina.
I think Norm thought it was a lot smaller than it was.
Oops.
It had grown substantially. And of course, as you all know, when you sell a house, one of the things is the lawyer will tell you all debts have to be cleared before they give you the change of what's left over.
That's right. So we paid off that, and Tina was right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
136,000.
Did you have one of those senior moments, Norm?
I think so, Tina. They're creeping up on me. So
we cleared it.
It was a bit of a kick in the shins, losing 136,000 of our house sale.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, within 2 weeks,
Yeah.
the stress of not having that, of being debt-free, we would chat to ourselves and say, hey, we're debt-free. We don't have any credit card debt, we don't have a mortgage, and we don't have a line of credit. Felt great.
It actually, we kind of felt an immense freedom, didn't we?
Total.
It's like having sort of a big ball and chain around your ankle, cutting it off, it's gone. And it's like, wow, this feels really good.
So we got financial freedom from that,
Yeah.
and we have no regrets whatsoever. So how much do you know you're going to get from the government from pension? So in the US, Social Security. In Canada, the Canadian pension plan. In England, the old age pension. Well, you should know how much you're going to get.
You should. And we perhaps were a little guilty of this too, Norm, because I'm not saying we didn't make the effort and we were lazy, but about 10, 15 years before we retired, we were going on, weren't we, looking to see how much we'd get. And then, but we didn't go on right near in those last couple of years to actually see how much are we going to get every month from all those pensions, as Norm mentioned. And I think had we known the actual number per month, that would have taken away a big fear, because we'd have known what that monthly income would have been. What do you think?
We were getting a statement from the Canadian pension plan, because we went to a home show, and the government had a booth there, and you could, they were telling you how to find out how much you CPP. At that point, we got a statement, and then we kept an eye on it as well. But From a British pension point of view, we kind of just ignored that. We had
Yeah.
no clue what we were going to get. And the major mistake we made, or I made, and this is for all of you who have worked in Britain and maybe not living there anymore, and you're going to apply for a British pension, prior to your retirement age, if you missed any years like I did, I had 19 or 20 years of the British pension contributions. I could have bought additional years, which for the amount of money it cost, the return on an extra pension payment is huge. So we urge you that if you're in that situation, don't do what I did and ignore it. Make some of those contributions voluntarily to national insurance.
No, it's a great idea. We kind of left it too late, didn't we?
Way too late.
Because we were fortunate. Norm managed to just scrape in, because we got the British pension for you at 66, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now I have to wait till I'm 67. And they are saying that they think it's even going to be going up to 68. So we were fortunate that Norm got in. I have to wait a little longer, but we left it too late, too near being able to pay those contributions.
One thing we did do right was we bought an annual travel and medical insurance policy when we were in our early 50s.
Yes.
And we urge you, if you're in that situation, to buy an annual plan. Stop buying these policies that come from the vacation company.
Yeah.
Say you're going down to Cuba or you're going to Dominican Republic and you see a vacation package, you buy it, and then the company says, hey, just for this small amount of money, we'll insure you for 7 days.
And that small amount of money often is like 200 or 300 per person for that 7 days. Well, that probably, as Norm said, was one of the smartest things we have ever done. Because in actual fact, now we're 68 and 66.
Oh my, is it?
We're getting older, Norm.
Hasn't time flown?
We actually only pay $326 per year for the two of us. And that covers as many trips as we can do, up to 31 days. It's fantastic. Now,
What happens after 31 days though, Teen? When we're in Portugal for 2 months.
Yes, and we're going to be there this year, so we are going to be calling our best friends, TD Bank, because we have found that they do the best top-up policy. So we can call them up. Now, yes, we do have to answer the medical questionnaires, but they will do a top-up policy. So I think we're going for 2.5 months, like 76 days. So we get the first 31 days. They will give us the extra 45 days. And it is still very reasonable, even after we've answered the medical questions.
Because they've designed a policy to piggyback on this other insurance's policy. And the insurance company that we have is through the Bank of Montreal, through our MasterCard, but it's underwritten by one of the world's largest insurance companies. So that's how TD is able to top up on it. So if you're in your 50s, or even 60s now, before you get to 65, go buy an annual travel medical policy. And the one that we have covers medical, covers lost baggage, trip cancellation. It's completely comprehensive. So do yourself a favor, get it as young as you can and hold on to it and renew it every year. Because if Tina and I went to buy insurance, travel insurance, as an annual policy for the first time now, a lot of companies won't take us at 68.
No. And I will throw in a very hot tip of advice here that we learned last year when we were getting a quote. We actually didn't go on the trip last year, but we did get the quote.
Is this something to do with vampires, Tina?
It's so, very good, Norm. What we learned was Norm got his quote for the extra, and he was about $200. I, being younger, thought, well, I'm going to be cheaper than him because I'm younger. My quote came in over $100 more than his quote. I said to the guy, hey,
Pays to be Norm.
this isn't on. How come I'm paying more? And he said, well, you answered no to, have you had a blood test in the last 12 months? And you know what? I hadn't.
You hadn't had one for about 4 years.
And it was, wow. Now, the good news is we have now got a wonderful new doctor this year, and I have been for a blood test. So when they ask the questions, have you had a blood test this year? I can say yes, and my policy will come in probably $100 less.
No.
That is a big secret. So we're saying if you're going for an insurance quote and they're going to ask you medical questions, perhaps having a blood test a couple of months before you go is a really smart idea.
Plus, it's a good health prevention, knowing what's going on inside your body. So basically, retire early. Retire as soon as the numbers make sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you can afford it. Be stress-free. Get rid of that job. You know, after 30, 35 years, you've done it all. You don't need to keep working. What are you trying to achieve?
And you know what? Retirement isn't a thing to be feared or scary.
No.
It's actually a really lot of fun, isn't it, Norman? We're having a blast.
And especially being debt-free, that reduces retirement stress. So you got rid of job stress, retirement stress, and find out how much the government's going to pay you. Because, you know, if you're going to get $2,000 a month, that takes a lot of stress away, financial stress.
Yeah, so it's really a little bit of knowledge. Try and find out, isn't it? A little bit of knowledge can make you feel a lot better going into retirement.
And be sure to go and get that annual travel policy if you're planning to make more than 2 or 3 trips a year. So we hope that everybody's keeping well.
And staying safe.
And until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.